Hi, in today's video we would like to tell you more on how to start your genealogy research in Western Galicia. We'll talk about the history of vital records in Galicia, the specifics of Galician records and where to find them, and in comparison with previous videos, this one will not focus on websites and databases that much, as simply there are not many of them solely for Galicia. There will be a lot of theoretical knowledge though. This is why I decided to present this in the form of a PowerPoint presentation. So what is Galicia? Galicia is the term we use for the territories of historical Poland that were under the Austrian rule from after the partitions and until 1918 and are now in modern Poland and Ukraine. This is a bit of an oversimplification though, because as always the history is more complicated than that. For example, some parts of Poland went under the Austrian occupation earlier, such as the town of Nowy Sącz, which was occupied by Austria in 1770. Also, not every town or village that belonged to Austria and is now in Poland was a part of Galicia. There were three partitions of Poland in 1772, 1793, and 1795. Austria took part in the first and the third one, but it did not manage to hold all the newly acquired territories and lost some of them in the Napoleonic era. After 1815 and the Congress of Vienna, the borders of Galicia stayed the same until World War I. So, as when you compare these two maps, you can see that Austria was left mostly with the territory of the first partition, with the exception of the area around Kraków, which was acquired in the third partition. Kraków and its area were technically not a part of Galicia, although for practical reasons it is considered as such. Now, in the middle of the 19th century, a division into Western and Eastern Galicia took on. It was based on a reform that divided the judicial jurisdiction of the region into Western and Eastern sections, with seats in Kraków and Lwów. Border between these regions was between the rivers of San and Wisłok. On the western side, there were counties of Łańcut, Przeworsk, Rzeszów, Strzyżów, and Jasło, while counties Jarosław, Brzozów, and Sanok stayed on the eastern side. As you can see on the map, the majority of eastern Galicia is now in Ukraine, with some parts being on the Polish side. For practical reasons and methods of conducting genealogy research nowadays, we will not be using this historical division into Western and Eastern Galicia, but we will use the contemporary Polish-Ukrainian border. So in this video, we will talk only about conducting genealogy research in Poland, and the Ukrainian part will be left for another video. After the partitions, the Austrian authorities introduced new legal regulations regarding the vital records. In 1782, a law was passed which established Catholic priests as civil registrars. 2 years later, an edict by the Emperor Joseph II was issued, which obliged the Catholic clergy to conduct civil transcripts of church records. Parish vital records became official registers of births, marriages, and deaths, and their copies were to be created for state purposes. Each village belonging to the parish was to have a separate book. At first, Roman Catholic and Greek Catholic parishes were responsible for vital books of all religions. In 1784, a law was introduced that allowed Lutherans or Protestants to have their own registers under the direction of Catholic priests, and in 1789 a similar law was introduced for the Jews. Catholic priests were obliged to keep books of vital records since the 16th century, actually, by the church authorities. The register of baptisms and marriages became compulsory in 1563 and death registrations in 1614. These were only kept for religious purposes though, and are quite rare in practice, so do not expect to be able to find books that reach prior to the 1780s that easily. So, how to recognize if your ancestors have originated from Galicia? First of all, the country of their origin in their ship manifests, naturalization records, or censuses will be listed as either Austria or Galicia. If they lived near the mountains, they were also most likely from the Austrian partition, as the whole mountain region in Poland was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but not necessarily within Galicia. If they identified themselves as Ruthenians, Rusins, or Lemkos, they could have been members of an ethnographic group which lived in Galicia, although not necessarily, as these groups also lived elsewhere. Or if they were Greek Catholic or Eastern Rite Catholic, it also might be a clue, although Greek Catholics also lived in other regions along contemporary Poland's eastern and southern border. Now, if you would like to see the extended version of this video where I talk about sources that can help you to learn more about Galicia and its parishes, where I cover the characteristics of Galician records and tell you more where to find them, please visit our Academy subpage at polishorigins.com/academy. And if you would be interested in our genealogy services, you can always reach us at genealogy@polishorigins, and we will do our best to help you. In the meantime, have a great day and good luck with your research.